What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and before we get into this Flyers loss against the Dallas Stars tonight, the most important thing you can do is hit that subscribe button. I will greatly appreciate that. So if you're a new viewer to the channel, first time viewing this, definitely recommend hitting that sub button for your latest Philadelphia sports recaps, news, and events. Like I said many times, it's going to be a great time or a very miserable time, depending on what happens in the world of Philadelphia sports. So definitely hit that sub button. Or if you're just a current subscriber, long-time subscriber, I am grateful for you being here long time, but I also think you're crazy at the same time. But still, send that out there. Get people to join this channel. Let's get this over the 400 sub count. Let's continue to grow from there and move on. So, getting into the business tonight, the Flyers dropped the back-to-back matchup in Dallas tonight by a score of 5-2. Definitely not their best performance of the season, and you can definitely tell there was some fatigue settling in, because when you're looking at the basis of it, you're starting a game yesterday in Carolina against the Hurricanes, and then you're flying cross-country to the central part of the United States, to Dallas, to play a game the very next night, not even a little under 24 hours later. So there definitely is going to be some fatigue settling in, and also yesterday you're playing a Carolina team who plays a very tough game. They play a very structured game, so yes, you're going to get some fatigue settle in here, but some things to look at with this game. Once again, the offense continues to struggle to score. I can't get above that 2-goal. Basically at this point, the Flyers, in so many of their previous games, they just can't find a way to get that third goal. If you're going back all the way to the Pittsburgh Penguins game, it's been basically Pittsburgh Penguins. They scored 2 goals. Washington, they scored 2 goals. They got shut out by Toronto. They scored 2 goals in Carolina last night, and they scored 2 goals tonight. And even looking at the previous games, going back towards even after that last game against Edmonton, where they scored 5 goals, and that was the last time they scored 5 goals. They scored 2 goals in Vancouver. They got shut out by Calgary 4-0. Then they shut out Arizona 3-0, and that third goal of that game was an empty netter. So basically, if you take away the empty netter, that's 2 goals on a goaltender. And then you go back to the other games: 2 goals against Pittsburgh, 2 goals against Washington, shut out by Toronto, 2 goals last night against Carolina, 2 goals tonight. So basically, if you're disregarding that empty net goal against Arizona, the last time the Flyers scored above 2 goals a game was that game, and they won in Edmonton when they scored 5 goals. So yes, the scoring has been mightily a major problem in the recent amount of games, and even so, they've gone through a lot of stretches where they got shut out for so many periods. I think going into this game, they had a stretch of maybe possibly 7 out of their last 8 periods they haven't scored a goal, or 8 out of their last 9. So yes, the offense continues to be a problem. The power play continues to be a problem, even though they did score a power play goal later in this game. They had a lot of earlier chances, especially in that first period, where I thought they were the much better team than the Dallas Stars, but it didn't showcase that on the scoreboard, as Dallas got the first goal of the game in the first period. But the shot totals in that first period favored Philadelphia 19-7. So Flyers, they were definitely the much better team, but Anton Khudobin, who was struggling to start this season, had a very bad record. He had an .885 save percentage coming into this game, a goals against average above 3. He was basically the difference maker in that first period for Dallas. Looking at one of those big plays, that pass from Travis Konechny over the Travis Sanheim, Anton Khudobin completely robs Sanheim. Even though it does go under review, if that puck does go in, are you talking about maybe a different game? I'm not sure, because definitely that's one of those change makers in that first period, preventing the Flyers going up 1-0. And then eventually, later on in that period, Dallas goes up 1-0 as the Flyers, their third line. Because when you're looking at this game, you got Kevin Hayes coming back, you got Ryan Ellis coming back, so AB has to shuffle the lines a little bit. Kevin Hayes gets slot in on that second line with Joel Farabee and Cam Atkinson. And then on that third line, you got Scott Laughton, Derek Brassard, and Travis Konechny, who I thought did not have the best of games tonight. And then you look at the bottom fourth line, Patrick Brown comes out of the lineup. He's a healthy scratch. You got Oscar Lindblom going there on the wing with Nate Thompson and Zach McEwen, and I don't think that line had their best game at all. After that, fourth line has probably been one of their better lines in the past couple of games. They've been buzzing recently, but adding Oscar Lindblom to that line, taking Patrick Brown off, They didn't look their best tonight, and Oscar Lindblom was on the ice for 4, I think, out of the 5 Dallas goals in this game. So Oscar Lindblom definitely hasn't had the best start to the season and definitely really just didn't have a good game. And yeah, Oscar Lindblom is starting to become a conversation topic at this point because he hasn't scored a goal yet at all this season. Yesterday in the game against Carolina, he was moved up to the second line because a little bit of the shuffling there just to maybe spark the offense really didn't generate anything there. He gets moved to the fourth line, doesn't have a really good game, and right now Oscar Lindblom's just in this funk where he can't get on the score sheet whatsoever. I know when you're constantly throwing guys on different lines, it's definitely going to mesh up their system that they got going with them, the chemistry that they've had with previous lines. But at this point right now, and I do hate saying it, Oscar Lindblom is becoming a liability right now. I hate saying that, I definitely do, but he's not finding the back of the net. I know he's been getting so many chances in the past few games, and eventually at one point he's going to bury one, but at this point, are you going to wait for him to bury one or try to settle the difference right now with the offense? And right now Oscar Lindblom's just not cutting it. So, yeah, he's been struggling lately, and it just sucks to see, and I hate pointing it out like that, but right now it's a problem. And this offense is becoming a major problem because they just can't find a way to find the back of the net. And when you get 19 shots in that first period, it becomes worrisome because you get a couple of power plays in that first period and you don't manage to score on them. Even though they do look a lot better, they just weren't good. You need to find a way to score on those power plays. And even after Dallas scored, they gifted you a power play right after that, and you can't find a way to pot one home. So even though you played a very good first period, you were down in the score sheet where that matters 1-0. Then you go into that second period. It was very back and forth to start this second period. Very, very back and forth. Both teams getting chances left and right. But in Dallas, they eventually took over this period. Even though the Flyers, they do get an early power play in the second period as well. They can't cash in on that at all. And then the Flyers, on that first power play they got, it didn't really last that long because, they took a penalty. And this is one of my problems with the power play too. And I've seen this going on through the past couple of games, even going yesterday against Carolina. First of all, besides the not scoring part, yes, that is the major issue with the power play. Even though they did score tonight, the major issue is still them not finding a way to get the puck into the back of the net. But this game especially, when they set up on the power play, when the power play begins, they don't win the opening faceoff. And when you win a faceoff on a power play, that gives you a better chance at setting the puck up to make a play happen. If you lose the faceoff, you're forced to chase, and it gives the better team a chance to clear the puck down the ice. And that's basically what happened the entire time when the Flyers were on the power play, and majority on these first 3 power plays. But when they had a chance to win the faceoff, and they turned the puck over, and Dallas sent it the other way, and the transition on the power play is just god-awful going up the ice. They're so stiff going up the ice, they don't use speed, and when they don't find an opening, they dump the puck in, and it allows Hudobin to either go out, get the puck, or the defenseman that's going back into the play for Dallas allows it to get the puck very easy, and they just clear it all the way down the ice. So that is a major problem in itself. They don't score on the power play on those first 3 chances. The third one didn't last that very long because you take a penalty because of your stupid turnovers and mistakes. And then Dallas, it becomes 4-on-4. You get chances both ways once again. Nothing happens there. But you go halfway into this period because Dallas, this is when they start to really pounce on you and they force turnovers. This goal right here by Dallas halfway into this period by Roope Hintz. A very bad turnover by Keith Yandel in his own zone. The Flyers get hemmed down there, and then it turns into a passing play from Robertson over to Gurianov, who's net front, passes it across the crease to Roope Hintz, who buries it past Martin Jones, and it becomes a 2-0 Dallas lead just like that. So Dallas, they're getting the upper hand right here. They're playing a lot better in this period, and right now you're sending the Flyers. They're looking gassed. They're looking like they're getting tired from the back-to-back, and that's basically how the game progressed as it went along. But then the Flyers, they get one late in this period. They actually capitalize on a Dallas icing, which was rare in this game. They didn't really ice the puck, so The one chance that they did get, they controlled it in the offensive zone. A very nice play by Travis Sanheim, who I believe had a really good game along with Rasmus Ristolainen. Brought it around the net, tried throwing it in front. JVR flying all over the place. The puck is landing in the crease. You got JVR. You got like 2-3 Dallas players in the crease. And then you also got Rasmus Ristolainen coming into the mold. And then the puck ends up into the net. And the Flyers make it a 2-1 game. So, okay, you're getting outplayed this period, but you find a way to get that goal back to bring it within one goal. But no, that doesn't happen like that, because exactly 26 seconds later, after you score this goal, and the one question I do have for Alain Vigneault in this game is, why are you throwing the fourth line out there after you score a goal? I understand the fourth line, they've been a really good energy line for you this entire season, but I don't think that was the instant to put the fourth line out there after you make it a one-goal game. Because as that happens, they lose the faceoff. Dallas brings it into the other zone. Provorov gets hemmed behind the net by 2 Dallas players, forces him to turn the puck over, and then it goes to Pettersson, goes to Sekera, then he throws it on net, and then Tyler Seguin redirects it past Martin Jones, and immediately like that, it becomes 3-1 Dallas as the period comes to a close a couple of minutes later. So instead of it being 2-1 immediately after you score, it becomes a 3-1 game just like that. In the third period, just basically no other joke as well. The Flyers got a late power play, or took a late penalty in the second period, and then they took a penalty in the third period as well. And Dallas doesn't falter on this power play. As the Flyers lose a neutral zone faceoff, Dallas brings the puck right in. Roope Hintz comes in. He shoots it on Martin Jones' initial rebound, and Hintz gets to the rebound and just brings it right over to Joe Pavelski, who's wide open and has a wide open net right there. Puts it into that open net. Becomes a 4-1 Dallas lead like that at the start of the third period, and basically that felt like the game right there. But the Flyers, they eventually do get a power play a little before halfway through this period. The second unit out there, who I thought looked like the better, honestly, power play unit the entire day. A little nice passing sequence between Kevin Hayes and Ivan Provorov. Provorov blasts it from the point, puts it by Hudobin, makes it a 4-2 game. Provorov's first goal of the season, assisted from Ryan Ellis and Kevin Hayes. So both guys inserted into the lineup tonight. They get points in this game, which is a nice sign to see. But the Flyers, they try to make their comeback. Hudobin makes some saves. They pull the empty net. And then you got Fosca clearing it all the way down the ice to ice the game, making it 5-2 Dallas. And that's where the game ends there. Looking at the stats for this game, the Flyers led in shots on goal 33-31. They get dominated in the faceoff circle by Dallas. They win it by 56%. Both teams, they get a power play goal in this game. The Flyers killed off 2 out of 3 penalties they took, and Dallas killed off 3 out of 4. Dallas was definitely the more physical team in this game. They got 23 hits to the Flyers 13. Flyers blocked more shots than Dallas, 16-14. Shots on goal by Pure, the Flyers completely outshooting Dallas 19-7 in the first period, and then Dallas in the second period was 10-5, and then in the third period it was Dallas 14-9 in that shot total. Just looking at this game, it's frustrating, but in this point where it's one of those situations where, once again, the Flyers fans, I know Flyers Twitter is one of the probably the lowest points in the Philadelphia sports first, but when you're more following the Flyers, you get more involved in the Flyers social media. And of course, this is going to be one of those games where people overreact and act like the sky is falling at this point, where it's very obvious for Flyers fans to do. After one game, everything is hunky-dory. After a loss, and then it becomes the sky is falling. This team is god awful. So this game, I think this one is more easier to swallow after winning last night's game in Carolina. You can definitely tell last night's game had an effect on this team just from the way they were playing. They looked a lot more fatigued in this game. So after this game, chalk it up, throw it in the trash, then you come back home for a 3-game homestand against Calgary, Tampa Bay, and Boston. And that's definitely going to be a very tough homestand there, but at least you can play in front of your home fans and not have to worry about going to Carolina and Dallas in back-to-back nights. Even though I'm not saying that's the major factor into this. It's at least one of the factors into why this team could be fatigued coming into this game, but still, the goal scoring is definitely an issue, and that's something that really needs to find a way to snap out of it. This team, I know that 6-goal a game pace they were doing at the beginning of the season. That was definitely not sustainable. I don't think scoring 2 goals per game is sustainable either. Like, this team is eventually going to spark somewhere and find a way to break that drought and just get on the goal sheet. Like guys like Claude Giroux, guys like Sean Couturier, guys like Cam Atkinson, Travis Konechny, those guys are eventually going to find the back of the net once again, and this team is going to start scoring. I don't think this is going to last that long, but then I know some people like to point out on Twitter as well that this team is this team is very deep and they can roll 4 lines out, but they're still lacking that dynamic scorer. Even though I do agree about that, like there's like not that one guy I think on this team that can take over a game. Like, yeah, you can look at Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux can take over a game, but at his age and where he's at in his career, he shouldn't be forced to do that. So I can understand that standpoint where this team doesn't have that pure dynamic scorer that can take over a game and be that threat on the ice every single shift he's there. So yeah, the offense still has that problem, and they just need to find a way out of this rut. They definitely do. So they got to move on to the next game, and also just even going off. Well, I still do think this is involved in the game, which is absolutely hilarious, but this wasn't with the game at all. This was involving with Twitter and hockey analytics, which was absolutely hilarious what the hell happened. So I want to bring this Twitter thread up because this was just, my goodness, this was just Flyers Twitter just going all out on this one hockey analytics account, which was absolutely fucking hilarious. I gotta find it. I really gotta find it. So if I can go back to the recent tweets, if Twitter will load right now. So if I go here, bring it up there. Okay, so if you don't follow this, well, if you don't know of this Twitter account, of course, maybe some of you don't because you're not that invested in Flyers Twitter. So, and Jason Martinez of 97.5 The Fanatic and Flyers Daily went off on this account too, which was absolutely hilarious. So I want to bring these tweets up because this is just funny to read. So the account is Annie Rowe. Now, I don't care bringing up their names because this account is just absolutely a joke at this point, and they have some weird agenda with the Flyers. So this was after the Stars made it 4-1 in the third period. So the Stars lead 4-1. Well-deserved. About Philly, we already saw this entire season play out the second the offseason mistakes were made, and it's going to be exactly as we expected. The coaching staff is another big problem. That tweet is a joke in itself. So 25th in goals for percentage, one of the worst power plays in the league, one of the worst fourth lines, and terrible offensive scoring since 5th game. If you can tell, this Twitter account has a lot of broken English. I think they're a Czech Republic account, so just mind that instance. That's really bad. Hart and Jones are the main reasons why the Flyers have a positive record. Philadelphia didn't see 3 or more goals in the last 8 games already, except one game against the Coyotes at home, with players like Couturier, Konechny, Giroux, Atkinson, Farabee, Provorov, Sanheim, for example. This team is playing much worse than it should. And now watching that comeback tonight, Provorov just scored. It's 4-2 on the power play. So going to what Jason Martinez did right here, he responded to this account saying the Flyers have beaten the Capitals, Oilers, and Hurricanes all on the road. They are losing tonight. 3 games in 4 days against the team that hasn't played since Wednesday, and the Flyers traveled last night to a different time zone. You have become a donkey analytics agenda account. Absolutely pathetic. And and you get Bill Meltzer joining in on the rush. Like, he really wasn't trashing the account. He was just bringing up points why the Flyers lost this game. Dallas has been home all week since Monday, and it's their second game in 6 nights. They were all kinds of fired up entering this game. Flyers played their third game in 3 cities in 4 nights. Then Martinez replied, Andy and Rono didn't see that on the spreadsheet, Bill. They are a pathetic agenda account with 0 credibility and no ability to think critically. Oh my God, this is just, and everyone's just saying, attaboy Jason, just going after them. This is just absolutely freaking hilarious. And then these guys responded back to Jason saying, then be no surprising that the Flyers have been mediocre for almost a decade if you're thinking like that. Yes, nice wins, but all of them were because of the goalies, especially, or else they were out, I don't even know, like, very broken English right here, else they were outplayed in every those games. Martinez with the best reply here. Go bury your nose in numbers in which emotionless robots play hockey. If you had any real clue, you would know why Friedman is no longer a Flyer either. 0 to do with as a player. And then says, and what Friedman has do And what does Friedman have to do with the Flyers' performances? We're talking about the team performance here. And then he says, you mentioned Friedman in your string regarding him and Prosser. Read your own shit. Oh my God, this is just absolutely, like, I do want to find where they brought up Mark Friedman at, because it's definitely in one of their threads when they were talking about that, because they did bring up a point where, like, they chose to, keep Prosser last year over Friedman. It's weird. Oh my God, it's just absolutely hilarious when I'm looking at all of this stuff about, and like everyone's just going about them. It's just oh my God. And then you got people saying, what do you guys have against the Flyers? Nothing. We could just like them to be good again and competing for a Stanley Cup. Everyone's saying you're full of fucking bullshit. I know this video is going way too long than it should, but this is fucking hilarious. So I think I'm going to end it right here. If you want to go check out that Twitter thread, definitely go. Just look up Andy and Roto on Twitter. You'll see the entire Flyers fan base on Twitter going at them. So definitely go check that out. And that's going to do it for this video, everyone. So what are your thoughts on this game? What are your thoughts on just this offensive still struggling regardless? So I want to hear those thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. So do not forget to leave those down there. Do not forget to drop a like on this video. Do not forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I'm a part of. Their links are down in the description below. Also, do not forget to check out the links to BrodesMedia, the Flyer.pod merch website, and also Flyers Nitty Gritty. All that good stuff is down in the description below. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the most important thing you can do is hit that sub button. I'll greatly appreciate that, and I will see you next time.